Alright YouTube, this is my 2008 Subaru Forester, and today I want to remove this broken radio that's connected to the battery in it, and it's got hooked up to these cords that run all the way down the car under some paneling. The first thing we need to do is clean up my car. It's filthy. I got my tools here. What's this called? Door panel remover, trim removal tool set, Titan ratchet set, and I have Milwaukee pack out, blech. And in here I got my Cobalt screwdriver with random bits, socket, and oh yeah, this is a wrench set. And I'm forgetting one thing. What was it? Oh yeah, it was. Alright, got my Makita now. So, that was the thing I was missing. So now I got that. Okay, let's begin. Alright, so first let's pull this seat down. Okay. Now it's pulled down. And then if you see these wires, they go into here and they pop out there. So we want to remove this panel so that we can get some visibility. So our wires are red, blue, and black and red, double. So let's keep track of these specific wires for removing them, and let's make sure not to get other wires caught up. As we see here, I got a couple other wires. So I have the red wire, okay, that's this one, and if I pull on it, yep, then we got this wire. And then we have blue wire, and all three of these lead up to this panel. So I need to remove this panel, and I need to disconnect this guy right here. Okay. And also always put it in a very careful spot like that. Right, remove that. Let's see, I'll put it here. Alright, so now we have those wires. Let's see, if I remember, it was blue wire. It was red and black and red wire. So these three wires go through there. And now we're here. Now these kind of go underneath this guy, so we need to remove this guy, which means let's undo that pin and undo that pin. So again, we have our blue wire, our leopard wire, red black wire, and the solid red wire. And now these lead into a couple different directions. So we have this here, and we have the red one going up here. So two of the wires go up into here, so I'm assuming they're up underneath this panel. So I have to figure out how to remove this panel. Alright, so I figured out there's a screw here, and there's a screw just under here. So if I can remove those two, there's those, and then I heard there's I think there's a third screw as well. So let's remove those. right, screw number 1. All right, screw number 2. So I have the 2 screws here, and I want to set them aside carefully. So I'll put them here. 1, 2. All right, so now I just gotta wiggle it off. And I want to make sure that I remember these 2 correctly. But I have gray is left, black is right. Yeah, let me figure this out. Alright, and then before I get too carried away with the other stuff, I gotta remember to safety first and disconnect the negative. Black one is on the right, gray one is on the left. I figured out which little tab to press to pop it out. So that's out. Now, time to do the gray one. I gotta figure out where that tab is to disconnect it. Alright, so then pulled that guy out. It was really hard to squeeze that because this one was in the way. But I got the gray out. So now I gotta figure out this one. So I realized I don't have to disconnect this necessarily. I'll just leave this alone because I notice this is the end of the road for this wire. So we can remove this guy. However, the blue one is still up in there somewhere. So I realized if I remove this paneling, because there's a screw here, I can go and find the end of the road for my blue wire. Let's do that. Alright. There. So I got that. And then let's remember to always put it in the safe spot in there. Okay. Let's see if I can pull this guy out. Oh. Okay, that's tricky. Alright, so I realized I can't easily pull this out. It's super stiff. So I decided to pop this one open. And I loosened screw 1, 2, and then that little plastic screw. So let's pull those 3 out. Alright. So now I removed this. And oh boy, this looks fun. I got all these cool little cords and wires. I got this blue light wire, this dinky dink, and it goes up here. I'm gonna get closer in here and see if I can actually see the end or if it has an end. Alright, so now I'm kind of stuck at a point where that blue wire, I can't really get to it. I can't see well enough inside there to see what it's doing, but I think I'm very close to where it connects to something. And then this panel, I realized is so stiff because this is not an outside panel. This panel, I think, wraps around this way. I could be wrong, but that's what it seems like. So, to give myself access, I would probably have to do this guy. So, I'm gonna have to disconnect all of these screws, remove this, and then see if I can get a good look from this side. Alright, so we have a screw here, here, in the middle here, one here, another there. These are all the screws I could see. I loosened them. So let's remove all of these all the way. Okay. So now I got those screws all removed. So I can feel that this is getting a little looser now. I just gotta figure out the other spots where it attaches. Alright, so there was the screws up there that I removed. It was still stuck, and I realized there's 2 screws there and there underneath. So I removed those. Now it's popping loose. Alright, I popped it loose. It was some screws on the top part, bottom part. Now I just have to look in there and see if I can find that blue wire in there. Alright, I came to a realization. I looked in there and I realized that that blue cord, I tugged on it so I could see it, is connected to the radio. And what that means is I have to pull this radio out to disconnect it. It's just in there. And that is going to be fun. So I'll probably disconnect this if that's a thing, and see if somehow I can pull this radio out. Alright, so for this right side panel, I got that screw right there. And I got these 2 screws down here, down there, for this panel, which is kind of exact same design as on the left side. So let's undo those and see if we can pop it off. Alright, got that out. Alright, so I figured out that I probably wasted a lot of my time disconnecting that panel, all these side panels. I was watching a quick video on how to remove the radio, and you just ignore all the stuff on both sides, pop this out, and then when I pop this out, I get access. So let's do that. So first, I would probably twist this off, I guess. This is kind of cool. Nice. Let's put that down there. I should put keys in my pocket. And then we got that. And then all of a sudden, screws and screws. So this is going to get easier for us. So I removed the 2 screws that were in this radio, and now look, it's loose. So I could probably pop this whole thing off, maybe. Alright, so I popped this out. I basically used these plastic prying tools, and it's really tricky, but I had to go all the way around and do that. And then now this is popping out. Here at the top, I disconnect this guy, and there's that down there, which, bingo. So remember, this one that goes there, and then this one, oops, oh shoot, that's tight. Why is that? There. Now it's out. So I can take this and set it to the side. Now we have a much better view in here. So I'm going to see if I can access that blue cord without having to remove this as well. Alright, so when I tug on this blue cord, you can't really see in there very well because it's a little bit dim, but it's right behind this radio unit, which means that if I can pop this out, unfasten the screws, pull it out, I will have probably direct access. Now the fun part about all of this is I did all of this work, popping that, popping that, popping that, just to have had immediate access through here, and then all of this other stuff wouldn't have been necessary. But that was fun. Okay. And then there's also these two down here, so I'll remove those as well. The nice part is all of these screws are kind of the same. Now, the fun part about this video is that I'm doing all of this, and I'm actually figuring it out as I go. When it comes to mechanics, just be willing to stay up late or, you know, spend a lot of time on a weekend day and just keep going and just take your time and just have fun. And don't yank on anything too hard because you don't want to break anything. So here we go. I removed this. Now I have access to all the cords. And so I located the blue cord finally, and so I will finally be able to disconnect it. So it goes into here where this black type of connector is, and it's got quite a few colory wires. Alright, so I reduced it down to pretty much at the last stage. I disconnect these two. Let me set this down carefully. I also want to be careful about setting it down just because I don't want to crack the screen. So the white goes on top, the black clip goes on there. But I disconnected both of these, and the blue wire's connected to this one, so I got to figure out how to disconnect it from here. Alright, finally got it done. I pulled this guy out of here. One problem. This guy is... I accidentally disconnected it from this guy. I don't know how important that is. I don't know what that does if this specific wire gets disconnected. And then I realized that these colory wires, this is a Crimpasil. So Crimpasils, they sell them at my work. I don't know much about them, but I could buy one or figure out what the correct one to get is. But now this is fully disconnected, so we're going to pull this out. So, boom, I have the end of it. Okay, so now I got these two figured out. I also have this black cord that I didn't notice before, that it just goes that way and it's loose. It's just a loose dead end cord that doesn't do anything. So I could probably disconnect it. Boom, disconnected. So now these two are useless, just kind of loose guys. Now, alright, and then this could be thrown away. I don't need this. So let's do that. Alright, so I got these guys disconnected. This is what's going to be connected to the battery. So this wire's going to be hot. This wire's not. I'm not, an expert on wires or electrical stuff, and I'm barely familiar with these. I just know they sell them at my work. So I'm going to, well, number one, because I never needed to remove any of this, I'm gonna put it all back in on this side. So I'm gonna put in the side panels, and I'm going to put in the glove box back in. Alright, I put in this side panel, and I made sure to put the screws back in here and here. And then now time to attach the glove box. Alright, I reconnected the glove box. I put in the screws all back into 3 there, the 2 there, the 2 underneath. And so this whole side is put back together. Now time for the red wire. So I followed the red cord, and it goes all the way back directly to the positive battery terminal. So that's cool. So I'm just gonna disconnect it then. Alright, so I disconnected this from the battery, and now I'm just gonna figure out how to pull it through. I'm gonna have to pull it through there, down the car, and then once I do that, I can yank out that stupid radio. Alright, I finally yanked it out. This was it, see? It was this junk radio accessory thing with all these cords hooked up to the battery. Finally pulled it out. So now I can put everything back. Alright, let's put this back together. So I remember the black one went in here, and then the gray one went in here. Okay, nice. And then we can clip this guy back on. So right, and I snapped it on. I put the 2 screws there and there in. Next, let's put on this piece. And I might have made a mistake in that this should have been put on first before this guy. But let's figure it out. Okay, that was kind of tricky, but I popped that back in, and then I put this one in, and I fastened both of those in. So now all that's left is I guess would be putting the radio back in. I put the radio back in. I'll put the screws in. Alright, and now I clip this back in. I clip this back in. Then I pop this back into here. Then I pop this back into here. And then I put the 2 screws in. Alright, I lost one of my screws. I don't know where it went, but at least I got one of them in. This is in. I don't like that, but now I can just move this thing back into place. And then screws back onto here. Perfect. Now I gotta put back the side paneling back on. Alright, that's in. Alright, all the paneling is done. So I did end up missing two things. I lost one of the screws that is underneath that little panel to fasten that in, and I lost one of the panel rivets for that. So now let's put away the garbage and bring and plug the battery back in and then start it up. And start her up. All right, that was pretty fun. I tore that radio out. I'm not good. I'm not expert mechanic or anything, so I'm just going through it as I go. And that's the thing about skills is just do it. You don't really have to have a whole lot of experience in something like fixing cars or whatever else. Just start doing it and just go slow and just kind of take your time, and then you'll just figure it out. Like for example, I learned the hard way that I didn't have to remove a whole bunch of panels just to get to the wire. I only needed to remove one panel. That's it. So it's very important, or that experience. Just start working on it. Please do not like and do not subscribe. Peace out.